Hey everybody, this week on It Came from GenX. Are people really licking frogs? And did the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame finally get it right? Hey, what's your weirdest cartoon you remember from the past? And also, Kyrie and Kanye, are they being targeted or is fair fair? Tune in, here we go.
This is an It Came from GenX video.
Hey, welcome to November. This is It Came from GenX. I am Keith Porter alongside Michael Skinner, Brian Fisher, aka The Fish, aka Skinbone, and we are happy to be here. We just got done having one of the most wonderful November weeks of weather here in Northeast Ohio that I can remember in a long time. Guys, it was almost eerie. It was so awesome. How you doing, Fish?
Doing well, brother. Yeah, a great weekend. Like you said, the weather was nice. Had Allie and her daughter Marlo over for dinner, watched a movie, and then they left. And I set up a TV on the front porch. I was out there till 2 a.m, watching movies, relaxing, a cigar and a drink. Very nice, warm evening. And Saturday, I went over to Coach Cooper's, unplanned, just on a whim. Hung out in their tiki bar with some other folks, and I was out there like 2 a.m. So I haven't been out till 2 a.m. in quite some time. And I would have been out there longer if I did not choose to leave because get a little bit rowdy, but a good time over there.
He hasn't been out till 2 a.m. because he usually gets thrown out of places before the end. But
yeah, didn't get thrown out of his own bar Saturday, so a lot of fun.
That's cool.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, my man Skinbone, what's going on, brother?
Not much. Everybody's feeling better. We got to go to partake in a hockey game this past weekend. Took my sister for her first one. Had a blast. Took the little redhead and Miss Marcy.
I saw
and
my
sister.
princess on the picture.
Yep. Military appreciation night. So it was a real nice evening, and looking forward to going to some more games. That's a great time.
Is it me or you just looking fuzzy there, or is it me? Is it me, Fish?
It's you.
Skinner, that look blurry, T?
Maybe a little bit.
It looks extremely
Maybe I need
blurry
to
on my end.
do the old dad thing, and
yeah, if only they made something to like clean your camera lens, that would be like phenomenal.
Yeah.
I might suggest it.
He's still on a COVID view, I think, or something like that.
Make some money, yeah.
there you go. How's that?
Nah, it's just your face.
Okay.
All right, guys. Anyway, had also a really great conversation with Christovus Dominic, our old DJ buddy who got us on WMBU.org for over a year.
Does he owe us money? I think he owes us money.
I don't know. We better call him up. I'm glad I got his new number.
Somewhere, somehow, we were owed money by somebody. I don't know. Yeah.
Well, we're going to look into that. I'm going to call the HR department. Yeah, we got an HR department. But anyway, Fish, did you catch my video debut with Dez the Reason? Did you see it?
Yes, I did. Yes,
I did. Man, actual thrill for me. Want to thank Dez for that, man. I was very, very excited. The video is awesome. The song is just absolutely incredible. Definitely my second favorite song by him that he's done so far. Powerful, powerful word. So anyway, guys, been a crazy week in sports, crazy week in music, crazy week overall, period. We've got some news, not so good, that borderlines pop culture and music. And we'll let Fish talk about that. So let's just get things cooking. But Fish, tell them where they can find the show.
All right. Keith, I almost took your video, by the way. I'm like, this is neat. I almost posted it on the page. I'm like, don't do that because it's an exclusive video on Boss Code Media Network. I'm like, that would have been dumb.
That's why I said it like that. Right.
Yeah. So anyway,
It'll be out.
It'll be out there. Yeah, you might be listening to us on demand on your favorite podcast platforms. You can find us on all major podcast platforms: Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Good Pods, and many more. Just wherever you listen to podcasts, search for the It Came from Gen X podcast. Give us a subscribe or follow. And as we post new episodes weekly, they'll pop in your podcast feed free of charge, and listen to us whenever you want to on the go or otherwise. You can watch us on our YouTube channel, It Came from Gen X, or as we mentioned, the Boss Code Media TV network, where you can find the exclusive music video that Keith mentioned with Des the Reason, our partner and friend. We have our very own channel there. So find us there on your smart TV device or your portable device. Is looking for the Boss Code Network. Pull down the app and give us a subscribe. And we're there with many other original content by creative folks across the country. You can find all of our media links in two main places. Our Linktree page. Simply Google Linktree. It Came from Gen X. It's simply a page with links to our social media where you can listen to us, etc. And our website, if you go to one place, go to our website, itcamefromgenx.wordpress.com. All show information's there, links to new episodes, videos, bios, and ways you can support the show if you wish through our Patreon account or right through our podcast page on anchor.fm. So if you do one thing, give us a follow, share, subscribe, rate, review, tell a friend. That's how we grow out there. And we appreciate your support. I'll also add, too, we've got some recent commentary on some of our TikTok stuff and YouTube videos. So if you're listening to us and you're commenting, thank you. We appreciate that. So keep the comments coming. We'll talk about those. And yeah, so thanks for your support. Thank you.
Absolutely. Some comments. Oh boy. Yeah, I'll leave that one alone. But anyway, so yeah, we have our own channel, on Boss Code Media. Don't get it twisted. I don't want anybody to think we're special or anything. None of the other channels wanted us. So
yes, that's right.
Des had to come up with a special channel for us. So anyway, let's get this show on the road. Big shout outs to our man Junior, Michael Skinner Jr., our producer, podcast producer. Thank you. Love you, brother. And big shout outs to my man Fish for producing this video, which comes out excellent every single week. With that being said, let's pass it to the skin bone. Take it away, bro.
All right. Before we get to the news, I want to do a shout out to the men and women of the military, past and present, being Veterans Day on Friday.
That's right.
We're currently recording on the Monday prior to. I'm wearing my veterans hat in support of our wonderful men and women of the military, past, present, and even those not quite yet through basic training, but our future. It's because of them we can do what we're doing today. And yes, I spent 10 years of the military myself, but I am just one of many. There's so many others out there that have risked all for our freedoms, and I never wake up one day regretting or taking for granted those that have done what they've done. So shout out to our military men and women. And okay, let's move on. So we're going to go from one great thing.
The most underappreciated group in this country. I love America, but I think it's shameful how we fall short, how we treat our veterans. That's one area we just really need to do a whole lot better. I think it takes a special person to do that, and it's the most important thing, because without them, all of this is nothing. It doesn't exist. So Thanks for doing that, man. Yep.
Right. We could go on for days.
Yeah.
We can go on for hours talking about that subject. But yeah, so let's move on from one joyous occasion, being Valentine's Day, to let's talk about some idiots that are out there. Nice segue into the story. Facebook post last week from the National Parks and Service had to warn visitors against licking, yes, I said it, licking the Sonoran desert toad if they become stumbled upon it. It's unclear whether there was a specific instance to prompt the warning, but, quote, here we are, unquote, is what they said on that Facebook post. The toads carry a potent toxin that makes people sick if you handle it or if the poison gets in your mouth. So there are idiots out there. They're licking these damn toads, thinking that they're going to claim some kind of high off of them. We're laughing, but it's true. You know, you've got the warnings that coffee's hot at McDonald's, and I know we've talked about idiots before, but this is taking it to another level. That they're going out seeking these freaking toads at parks to see if they can catch a high from licking them. Have you guys heard the story? Do you know anybody that it falls into this category? I mean, we could go on for hours about the stupidity of mankind, but this, I think, is taking it to another level. Porter?
I don't know what to say, brother. You know what? I love America. I'll say it again. Because every time I think I've heard it all, you can't surprise me. Some freaking morons like hold my drink. We got frog lickers now, man. Listen, when we were growing up, we had to stop idiots from putting their tongue on icy poles. Remember?
Right.
You guys remember Christmas Story,
yes.
Right? That was the worst we had to worry about. Somebody had to test it every year. You know, somebody was like, I had to do anything. Now we got to protect the frogs. I can't do this, man. What is wrong, man? I mean, there ain't enough drugs in the world. I mean, we went from all the natural stuff that, you know, like marijuana, you know, to the natural versus a little bit of chemical, you know, to the cocaine, to the synthetic. Then we went straight to chemical. We got huffers and meth makers. We went to all this other crazy stuff. Now it just ain't enough. We got to go back to straight nature. Let's just get it right from the tap. We got to lick a frog. I don't understand it. I understand addiction. I know what it's about. I know things from experience. I get all that stuff, but I don't understand this predolescent with wanting to be high so bad that you would say, you know what? I'm going to lick a frog and give it a try. I don't get it, man. I don't know what to say. And I ain't going to say what I'm thinking, but you guys already know. So I don't know, Fish.
Well, in part, I'm sure people are doing it to film it and put it out there on social media. I'm sure.
That's a good point,
also,
too.
You know what I'm saying? So, but you're right.
But that's going to push other people, Fish, to do it.
Of course. Yeah. It's just a way to probably, in part, to, like I said, they're probably trying to get high, and also in part to be a goofball and get views on social media, stuff like that. I was thinking back on some of the weirder stuff that we did. I mean, we definitely, you know, I think I want to say like model glue, sniff that a little bit, markers,
okay,
stuff like that. You get a slight temporary high. I remember I did whippets once. You ever do whippets?
Yeah. And
like
remember
3 seconds.
10 deep breaths, the 10 deep breaths, and people pushing your chest in against a tree.
Okay, I don't know if I did that myself. But
yeah, you get like this real euphoric high. We thought you were getting high. It was crazy. And then, of course, as we got older, the craziest thing I ever did was I ate the worm in a bottle of Moscow.
Okay.
That was not fun. Yeah. But man, nothing like this.
No, I don't know if our generation ever thought about licking an animal. to get high. Or I don't know. I don't
I
remember
forgot
hearing
the
about
Tide
any of that as
Pods too. I
kids.
forgot Tide Pods.
Oh yeah, it's a whole other level of dumbness.
At least-
Those are still under lock and
Hey,
key.
Skinner, at least we're all natural now.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
We were from Tide Pods to a frog. At least it's natural. Oh my gosh.
I guess they're going back to the natural causes, right? I suppose. Yeah, I got nothing, fellas. I saw something. There was some memes that popped up, like Fisher was talking to before we went on air. I'm like, there's no way this is a story. So I seeked out the story, and sure enough, I found it.
What was the dumbest thing you
NBC
tried to do to get
News.
high, Skinner?
He got married.
I got married. Yeah, probably. To be truthful, it was
high as wearing
never
off.
seeked it out.
It was high as wearing off. I got to try another one. Yeah.
I'm not going to say I haven't tried the marijuana on occasion, but I never ever seeked out a high. I can say that in truth. So I can't relate to what these people are doing.
So you never did anything beyond
truthful.
like normal like marijuana or nothing. You never did like whippets or
No,
anything weird like
Nope.
that. Nothing.
no, I was too afraid of
You
it
never
hurting
did a
me, to be
whippet?
honest.
Wow.
No.
Okay.
I said marijuana is on occasion is the worst I've ever done or tried. To be truthful,
Wow.
so and I'm honest to say that.
Yeah. I
Maybe
You
you
know,
should have. Maybe you wouldn't have got married as much. Sorry.
Yeah, maybe so.
I've experimented with some things, but I don't think I've ever done anything extreme on the extreme level other outside the worm thing. I remember a job I used to work at, and I don't want to get graphic here on the show, but everybody at the job was into ecstasy. It was really big. This was 20 years ago, something like whatever. And there was a group of young girls that worked there. Beautiful. They're all friends. They're all like, 5'5", 110 pounds. You know what I mean? And when it was time to go out, they're all hung together with their little mini dresses on and a little clique. And, I found out that while everybody else was swallowing those capsules, they found, according to them, a greater way to achieve ecstasy, if you will. Yeah, they were putting it in each other's bum.
Euphoria.
Yeah, and
Each
I'm
other's
like,
bum.
Say what?
yeah, that's they said if it goes from, because if you swallow it, yeah, I forgot they said if you swallow it, the high goes from here up. But if you, I don't know, it was a weird, but that's how they took it. That's how they took it. They put it in each other's bum, and yeah.
Yeah.
So
I
remember thinking, I don't have any friends that I'm that close with.
I was just
Fisher,
thinking the
you got
exact
a
same
minute?
thing. I was just thinking the exact same thing. Can you imagine that, a bunch of dudes getting together and saying, "Yeah,
Hey Fisher, you busy? Come here.
Well, we all know that you can't stick nothing up
Bring
there,
it
so
on.
we wouldn't even
Thank
try with
you.
you.
That's
Thank
right.
you. Oh no, I'm innocent.
Can't even get a capsule up there." Oh my god!
So you guys know I didn't do it.
Wash this. Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. So I don't know, man. All right. Pray for America.
Nothing surprising though. You know what I mean? You hear a story like that. Nothing surprising. It's like, yep. It's nothing shocking anymore in the world of social media
it's just
and
like,
everything.
what next? Who could have guessed that one? Maybe people will start licking frogs now. I don't know.
Sure.
I got nothing. How about some music and sports?
See, if you stick
Let's derail this and go on.
If you stick an ecstasy capsule up the toad's rear end first, then lick it. Now you're on to something.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh boy.
All right. A little bit of music and sports. Okay, guys. Oh man, that's just beautiful. I guess we'll start off with some music. Got a big week in music and sports, so I couldn't go wrong either or. But we'll certainly start off with music, and of course, the big story is the 2022 Music Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductee ceremony took
in
place
Los Angeles.
In Los Angeles,
not in Cleveland.
Yeah, Los Angeles, the home of whatever. Wow. There's no respect at all, man. I tell you.
The
But
home of most of those people, probably. But anyway.
yeah, that's true too. But interesting, the inductee list I thought was a little more, um, wasn't so reclusive. I thought that they're starting to do a better job. At this point in time, it doesn't matter anymore. It's just too late to fix this mess. So it is what it is. But I definitely want to talk about some of the inductees. There's some like about times, and there's some whats. I thought it'd be cool to just shoot down that list real quick, guys, and talk about them. First name on the top of that list to me is certainly about time, and that is the great Pat Benatar and Neil Giraldo.
Yeah.
To me, one of the greatest vocalists and one of the greatest guitar players, songwriters in rock history.
Sure.
Just feel good music. Some of my favorite songs, period, are a couple of Pat Benatar songs, Promises in the Dark and Hell is for Children. And that title could be misleading if you don't really know what she's talking about, which is a song about child abuse. So I just think they're fantastic, and I am glad to see them get honored finally. Thoughts on Pat Benatar, Skimbo?
I'm with you. As soon as they finally said Pat Benatar, so what the hell did it take so long? She should have been in years ago. She's when you think about us and rock and roll in the 80s, early 80s, she's one of the first ones that come to mind. So I'm very, very happy for her. And, for the Rock Hall, like you said, it's a mess. It's about damn time to get their heads out of their butts and get her in.
Yeah. Now, Fisher made an interesting comment off the air when we were talking about this, and he was basically saying how a lot of these come from our MTV era, which is kind of cool. But man, how does a person who was like the second video ever played on MTV just now get in 2022? I don't understand that. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And it wasn't like she was like the Bugles, who were like one song you never heard from them again. This woman went on to an incredible career, her and Neil Giraldo. So, yeah, just crazy. Any thoughts on them real quick, Fish?
Yeah, it's a huge talent. Like you say, just both of them are terrific. I've seen them live years ago. Great show at Blossom.
Man, I've never seen them. Dang.
Yeah, just again, great vocal. She was a huge influence. I mean, she definitely helped pave the way for other female rock stars in her generation, for sure. And her fashion was also influential as well, with the haircut and everything else. So, yep.
And of course, her style was highlighted in a movie we grew up with, Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
Yes.
And
they specifically said Pat Benatar, the Pat Benatar crowd. Yeah. Yep.
And not a voice like her, still isn't. A lot of close, but never a voice like her. All right, Duran, staying with the MTV video era. If there was ever a band who ruled the MTV era, Duran certainly had their hand in there with hit after hit after hit. I loved Duran growing up. I thought they were as unique as it got. They were, a little bit of funk, a little bit of rock, a little bit of soul, a little bit of all sorts of stuff. Really, really happy for them. Thoughts on them, Fish?
Musically, some of the best talent in any band that ever existed. Some of the best. Yeah, all those guys could all play their instruments at a high level. Simon Le Bon's voice is great.
Yeah.
Again, I first saw them who are these pretty boys and all that, but I instantly these guys are cool. They sound cool. Yeah. They look cool. I've always liked Duran. So, and obviously the videos were great, but yeah, just huge talent.
And one of the great James Bond theme songs of all time too.
One of the best. My favorite.
Yeah,
my absolute favorite. Yep,
definitely
Beautiful Kill.
Up there with mine, with a couple of them. Thoughts on them, Skinner?
Back when they were huge, they were kind of a guilty pleasure because everybody thought of me as the rocker. How are you liking Duran? But those guys, like Fisher said, they were top notch musicians, and nowadays I just go back and revisit their music, and I'm like, Now I see why I liked them so much when I was a kid, because these guys really had something special going on. So very happy for them. And just like we said with Pat Benatar, what the hell did it take so long for them to get in?
So they thought you were the rocker, huh? They thought you were tough.
I don't say about tough, but they all knew that I listened to music that was a hell of a lot harder than Duran Duran.
Okay, I was just checking because I was going to remind you were getting up going bowling on Saturday. Nobody thought you were. I just wanted to remind you.
That is true.
Okay. Okay, guys, this next was really interesting. Because when you think of the longevity of Duran Duran and a Pat Benatar, wow, when they say the name Eminem, it feels like, man, I remember when he came on the scene. It's been a long time, but certainly when it comes to albums and the numbers to qualify and what he has done, man, just unbelievable career already. You happy you seen his name on this list, Skinner?
I am. And to be truthful, I didn't know Eminem until I saw the movie 8 Mile.
Okay.
I didn't know. I mean, I knew he had music on the radio, but that wasn't my genre of music. I watched 8 Mile on a recommendation, and I got to learn who Eminem was, and I really became a fan, not only of the artist but the man himself. So yeah, it's I'm really happy as well for him.
Skill wise, man, he is. You're just a few out there that I think can even be in his category. Some of the ones that I've seen that are as phenomenal as he is, their names are not as well known. They got the skill, but not the songs or the push, if you will.
Mm-hmm.
And I've heard a few, but there are a few that do have a good name, a well-known name that are unbelievably skillful. Buster Rhymes comes to mind. Buster is ridiculous what he can do with his mouth, but I think Eminem is on a level of a Dave Chappelle, where he has just reached the pinnacle of his craft, and he's just kind of all alone in his own category. Thoughts, real quick, Fish?
I can't say much more than that. Just a force in the industry, like I said.
Yeah, and of course we don't want to miss the elephant in the room here. You know, here's this white guy came in to a predominantly black genre, if you will, and boom, took over.
Yeah,
and you know, took over. A lot of people didn't like that. Yeah, and I thought it was great. At the time that his first album went great, I remember the great comment by Charles Barkley. He goes, I know the world's coming to an end. This was when Tiger Woods was starting to rule. He goes, when the world's greatest rapper is white and the world's greatest golfer is black. So
that's funny.
I personally am grateful for Eminem as a person with my background, in rock and whatever, just to break down these color barriers and stop all this stupid stuff. I'm all for cultural history. I have no problem with that. But I think it's time to break down these barriers, man, and get past skin color and just move on. So I personally am grateful for Eminem. All right, stand with that video thing, our MTV thing, Eurythmics, video gods on MTV, man. Jeez. In the early 80s, they just had the formula for the videos. And of course, Annie Lennox, another phenomenal vocalist. Can't believe they're just now getting in, Fish.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. It's just, it's one of the best female vocalists you're ever going to hear. And just a unique sound they had.
Unique,
they definitely had their own thing. So good. So I'm happy that they got in.
Okay, moving a little bit quicker. Skinner, the great Dolly Parton, who had declined at first to be part of it.
She did.
I'm glad she didn't. Kind of respected where she was coming from, but I'm glad she didn't. This, to me, is like the biggest travesty of all. Dolly Parton, are you serious? The woman has her own theme park. You're huge.
Yeah.
You're huge when you get your own theme park. Dolly Parton, 2022. This is shameful, man. I don't know what they're doing. How is she just now getting in, Skinner?
I don't know, because she's on the Mount Rushmore of country music with George Jones and Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings. So I don't know why it's taken this long, whether it's because country music has their own, I don't know. There's no explanation why the great
Well-
Dolly Parton is just now getting in.
Right. Well, we're going by the track record of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame and the artists that they put in. We know we're well beyond rock and roll per se as a genre.
Yeah.
So according to their own track
Mhm.
record, this woman should have been in 15, 20 years ago, if you
Yeah.
ask me. So I don't get
easy.
that part. Okay. Another one, in my opinion, on that list, Lionel Richie.
Yeah.
There was a stretch when no one was having more hits than Lionel Richie, man.
Yeah.
I'm talking
you're right.
number ones, boom after another. Song
Oh,
that
yeah.
they come on and everybody sings. You know what I'm saying? And you're talking about a 2-artist career. This guy
Yeah.
made multi-platinum with the Commodores and as a solo artist.
Sure.
Right.
Just now getting in.
It's songwriting as well, Keith. He just wrote many
Yeah.
hits, for Kenny Rogers and others. I mean, just a huge talent.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And those were
Mhm.
huge hits too.
Yeah.
Speaking of songwriters, Carly Simon. I might not be the biggest fan. She might not be total relevant today, but as far as songwriting and stuff for other people, I don't get it. So those are just some
huge.
under the performer category. Now under the Music Excellence Award, this one, of course, a little closer and dear to our heart, guys. There are certain bands in the metal world that are in a kind of a different stratosphere. They travel different. Their shows look different. They might be on our Mount Rushmore, if you will. Excuse me. One of those bands, of course, is Judas Priest, who started in the 70s.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They got more albums. I can't remember how many albums they got, and what this band has done over the years. Of course, our dear friend and schoolmate, Tim Ripper Owens, his dream came true being a part of this band. With what they've done and still doing it, if anybody in heavy metal should be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, they should have been the first one off the list, in my opinion, as far as not being in there already. I don't understand this one at all, Fisher.
Yeah, I'm with you, man. Just top to bottom, like you say, just great music, also great songwriting, many, many hits, and in my book, Rob Halford, one of the best hard rock metal singers, period. He's on the Mount Rushmore of
without
rock metal
question.
singers. No question about it.
He has the nickname the Metal God.
Yeah.
No
For a
one.
reason.
Yeah, for a reason. No one's came close to what he's doing. Save a Jeff Tate or whatever. And this is one of the few bands that still can travel around the world and fill arenas. Still to this day, even with the lineup changes and all the different things they've had going on. I just don't get it. And I would like to get an answer from someone on why it took so long to get Judas Priest and Skinner. What do you think, man?
Well, this seems to be the theme. Every time you bring up an artist, it's why is it taking so long? So I'm going to call this the makeup year for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They're doing the makeup for all the wrongdoing that they've done over the years.
You know what? That's awesome.
But we were just it's funny you mentioned Judas Priest because we were talking before you came even on. Fish is going to go to the venue that he's going to on Saturday. I haven't stepped foot in it. It's the Cleveland Agora. I can say it on air. I haven't been there since we saw Tim Ripper Owens as lead for Judas Priest. That's the last time I stepped foot in that venue, and that was about 20 some years ago. So, I don't want to beat a dead bush, but what the hell did it take us so long for them to get in?
I don't know, Skinner, but you were reading my mind. Great call when you said the makeup year, because as I was looking at this list, I was like seeing the theme here of people who should have been in here. And that's crazy. Next on the Music Excellence Award, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis. You are talking about icons in the hip hop world. I mean, man, when hip hop just started becoming huge, Jimmy Jam and Terry Lewis were there. You got the time. They put Janet Jackson on the map, took her solo career and went skyrocketing with it. And the list goes on and on. They're under the Music Excellence Award, but they could have been under a couple of different categories. I don't know why they're just now getting on here. So that's crazy. Then you got the Influence Award. Seriously, Harry Belafonte. I stop. I mean, seriously, Harry Belafonte. Okay, all right, whatever. That's silly. I'm not sure about who Elizabeth Cotton is, or Coton, so I'm not going to comment on that. You guys know who that is?
Not familiar.
I don't recognize that name.
Okay, so and then the other names, I don't recognize is the Ahmet Agruten Award. I don't know if that's a diverse group award, but man, just some incredible names that are like leave you like this that should have been on that list. But I'm glad to see those people get in. They need to have that title in front of them. Rock and Roll Hall of Famers, Judas Priest. Like, yeah, okay.
Yes.
Very, 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 very cool. So,
by the way, I just saw it online tonight. Go check out Janet Jackson attended the ceremony tonight to support her friends.
Oh, okay.
And she recreated the Control look in honor of them getting in. So she had the hair and everything. She posed with them
Jimmy
and everything.
Jam and Terry Lewis?
Yeah, Jimmy Jam, Terry Lewis. Yeah.
Oh, okay,
so
that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were such instrumental figures in her career. She was coming off a very abusive divorce. She was overweight, lost a lot of confidence, and they just totally rebuilt her as an artist and as a person, and gave her the confidence and helped her get control of her own life, which is why the album was called Control and the first single was called Control. So that was all of them. They produced every song on that album and did a lot for her. So that's probably why she gave them such respect. So
yeah,
very cool. So yeah, these people need to have that title from their name. You know, when me and my uncle, the great Sam Moore, aren't fighting, I love to give him that respect. You know, let him remind him he's a Hall of Famer. When something comes up and he's like, "Well, I didn't want to shake any trees," I always go, "Dude, you're a Rock and Roll Hall of Famer. That counts for something." You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You know, you speak up. You know, when it comes to something about music or whatever, he's always being passive. I'm like, forget that crap. You paid your dues, man. All right, guys.
And by the way, just off the tails of that, I'm so sorry. So just just an announcement. We'll talk more about this here, but this podcast has been nominated for top podcasts to come out of Kenmore, Ohio. It's in the Kenmore, Ohio podcast Hall of Fame. So
right, read the other nominees.
I got the list here somewhere. I think it's Convincing Idiots, Us, probably some community thing, something like that. So yeah, stay tuned. So we hope to get in.
Oh gosh, yes, okay, guys. Real quick, just looking at this damn music, a couple things caught my eye that took me back. 1987. I'll never forget the first time watching. I want to say MTV Video Countdown. You remember that top 10 countdown? I think that was it. It was some countdown video, and it got to number one. And they were like, "All right, this is the video that debuted at number one, taking the world by storm." I was like, "Oh, this got to be good." I Think We're Alone Now by Tiffany.
Oh boy.
Oh jeez.
I was like, who? What's a Tiffany?
Yeah, right.
I'll never forget that. And Tiffany was a little girl. I can't remember where she was from. I think it was a small town, if I'm not mistaken. But she would go to malls and just start singing. And the rest is history. But I Think We're Alone Now. And the song was originally a hit for Tommy James and the Shondells back in 1967.
Yeah, that was a cover. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a cover. And she was the youngest act to score number one since Michael Jackson. I think they should be an asterisk by that because it's a cover. But so you really didn't score number one, in my opinion. But yeah, I'll never forget that. Tiffany. I hated that song. I hate it. Tiffany fan growing up, Fish.
It was like Tiffany and Debbie Gibson around at the time. It was just the whole teenage girl. And it was fine. Yeah, not my particular music, but they definitely were very popular with women our age. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was the jailbait era, and America loves to put out that young white jailbait pop star. Britney Spears. The list goes on and on. I hate that whole thing. I just stop it already. It's just like a bunch of syrup. These chicks cannot sing. These little tiny voices. I just hate it, and I'm sick of it. And then, of course, the way they expose them and things like that.
More Madonna witchcraft, Skinner.
Hey,
Oh, gosh, here we go.
When you're
All
ready,
ties
buddy,
together.
I'll prove it to you. I'll let you know. I'll back up what I'm saying. Okay. Of course.
So, real quick, Tiffany Renee Darwish is her given name. October 2nd, 1971 is her birth date, out of a small town, Norwalk, California.
Uh-huh.
Okay. All right.
There's your Tiffany.
Thank
There's
you.
your Tiffany.
Guys, 2002. The great Bobby Brown, singer in New Edition, solo artist, and of course, husband of the late great Whitney Houston, was arrested during a fight after a gig in Vancouver was canceled. No, I'm sorry.
In front of his name.
No, that's not Vancouver. That's a different thing. He was arrested and charged with possession of marijuana, speeding, driving without a license, and having no proof of insurance in Atlanta City. Bobby Brown, it is to me a shock, and I don't want to mean this in a bad way, but I'm shocked that he is just still alive after not only what he's been through in the news, but from the show Whitney and Bobby, we saw how they live. The term ghetto millionaire was coined. It's just shocking that he's actually still alive right now. Can you think of anybody in music that you're just absolutely shocked? And just give me one apiece, guys, that you are absolutely shocked that you're just still living right now based on the lifestyle that you've seen. I'll start with you first, Skinner.
Well, truthfully, one of my favorites, I would
great
have to say,
choices.
is Ozzy Osbourne.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Ozzy Osbourne.
That's a good one.
Boy, that's a great one there.
Yeah.
And the thing about Ozzy, when you listen to him, he makes you think he's on his last leg. Sometimes
Right.
he can seem real lethargic and like he's maybe having a couple of seizures and whatnot. Wow. And we know
the next time you hear him singing, he's perfect.
Yeah. What is that all about?
Yeah.
You see him in the video and he's all active, and I don't understand it, man. What are you getting? Transfusions or I don't understand it. And then nobody can understand him except his family. Wow, that's a good one. Okay, what do you got for us, Ish?
How about Keith Richards? It's kind of an old joke.
Oh, you took
Rolling
mine.
Stone.
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've always said there's only two things going to survive a nuclear war: the cockroach and Keith Richards.
He might be clean and sober. I have no idea. It just seems like he definitely led a rough life earlier on, but still gets up there and rocks it out, man. Give him credit.
Dude ain't clean and sober, man. He's not even clean. And the part that cracks me up, man, I'm just calling it like it is. Have you seen these guys' wives? Yeah, it's for love.
Oh.
Uh-huh. Yep.
This dude is a mess, man. He looks like a walking corpse. It's my wife. She's 22. Beautiful model. Okay, all right. So another one, you took Keith Richards, but I was certainly going to say Willie. That guy, man. When Snoop Dogg says you scared him, that's serious. Snoop said that's the only person that ever outsmoked him, scared him. So yeah, that says something. You're talking about a guy in Snoop who pays another guy $100,000 a year to do nothing but roll joints. That's the guy's job. Just stay by me and roll joints. And when I have company, start rolling. So that's how serious he is about it. He said Willie scared him to death, man. Man, okay. All right, so that's it I got in music today, guys. Of course, in sports, a couple of big stories. The Houston Astros are 2022 World Series champions. I know a lot of people have kind of a bad taste in their mouth with the Stros. They've had a lot of success lately. And of course, they've had a lot of controversy lately, but they are a good baseball team. And they beat the Yankees up pretty bad. And Dusty Baker, man, what, 72, gets his first World Series as a manager. I'm happy for him to see somebody fight that long and achieve. I know you're our baseball guy, Skinner. So what do you think, man?
Well, as far as the team is concerned, it pisses me off that they won it. As far as Dusty Baker, I'm very happy for him that he's finally getting a ring. I just wish it was with a different team.
Okay, now why does it
still have a bad taste? Well, just because they got caught cheating years ago, and I just haven't. I guess I just haven't forgiven them for it.
Well, don't you?
A lot of the players.
You think they're the only ones?
There's some players. No. It's only cheating when you get caught. That's the phrase, and that goes beyond sports. So, I guess it's just because there are still some players on that roster that have no remorse for what they did. And
only
that's
4,
where
though.
the animosity is still coming from.
Isn't it only 4, though?
Well, yes, but then you look at the other ones that are out there. They have no remorse for what they did. I guess that's where my animosity still lies.
And
come clean.
Okay, I feel you. And not to correct
ahead.
you, but I'm just going to say I feel different than you with that phrase. It's only cheating when you get caught. You said that goes beyond sports. I think that's only in sports where you can say that. And the reason why I say that, I don't think just if you cheat on your wife because you didn't get caught, it wasn't cheating. I think, you're a cheater. So I think that applies only for sports, because if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, and all that other stuff. So okay, good thoughts. Are you a baseball guy, Fish, at all? Care?
I'm kind of a fringe fan for baseball.
Yeah.
From a Dusty Baker perspective, I mean, he definitely was brought into a tough situation. He was the first manager they hired after the cheating scandal.
Yeah.
And give him credit for holding things together and, like you say, winning it late in his career. So he definitely solidifies his Hall of Fame nomination with this win.
I don't know anything about Dusty, and so I don't really care one way or the other. But I'm happy for 2 reasons. I like to see anybody at an old age probably achieve their dream, and that's great.
Mm-hmm.
And secondly, remember what I said a few weeks ago? We were talking about, well, I don't know if it was on the show or if it was in a personal conversation, but I was talking about how we were talking about football, how they'll always give a black coach an opportunity when it's a mess and they have no other place to go but fail. After something like this happens. And of course, Dusty brought in after this big mess, but he did not fail, and he did get a World Series with this team, and I'm glad to see that. So, okay, so moving on, guys, to football. Trade deadline came and went. Of course, big news with my team. Chase Claypool traded to the Bears from the Pittsburgh Steelers for a second-round pick. I thought it was a brilliant move. It was the smartest thing they've done all year for a couple of reasons. Number one, we have a pretty strong receiver room, so you got to go where you have a little leeway to get something out of it. 2, we need draft capital because we're hurt in so many places. We got to fix next year. And 3, they know they got to rebuild that locker room. Claypool came from the Juju era, all this, nonsense and TikTok and silliness. And we don't have enough leadership going. So get rid of all these silly guys. Go somewhere else with that nonsense. And, of course, Juju's in Kansas City now balling out, but whatever. So I thought it was a good move with them. But the big news is our man Tom Brady. I don't know what to feel for Tom Brady. He just became hit the 100,000 passing yards. This is a credible milestone. I saw in motion on the sideline with him the other day that I haven't seen in a long time. And here's the man just lost his wife and kids. And I don't know what to think about that. I don't know how he feels. I don't want to start feeling for him, and he don't care, but he seems to be all fired up in about football. To me, football or no football, I'm not losing my wife and kids, but that's me. I don't know what their situation was. How do you look at the situation with Brady, Fish?
It's tough. I mean, you hate to see any quarterback go not go out at the top of his game. Of course, now he chose to come back. I don't know. It's just too bad. It's just you feel like he's not going. If this is his last year, it's too bad that if he would go out under these circumstances with all this added personal life pressures, because then you're always going to have that what if,
Hold on, though. That's the thing that we got to watch, because he was playing like crap, and then we found out him and his wife were going through, right? Now, and talk about, that was the fastest divorce I've ever seen in my life. I've never seen anything like this. It wasn't done in like 3 days. But anyway, now that he's divorced, he went out balling the other day. Called it clarity of mind or what have you. So he might not go out like it's been going so far. This guy's playing with a lot of injuries on his team. So he might go out on top again. Who knows, man? So thoughts.
I saw a meme. It was like undefeated since his divorce or something like that. So we're making a joke. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that one. Yeah, I mean, he's Tom Brady, man. When he has a singular focus, watch out. And it might do wonders for the rest of the season for him now that all this is done with. Thoughts, Skinner?
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's just one game. That team is a mess, truthfully, up and down the roster. You guys know my feelings towards Tom Brady. I respect his game, but I'm ready for him to move on, get out of the league, let the young bucks take over and do their thing. So, congratulations on the milestone that he reached. Sorry to hear that you've gone through the divorce, but get off the damn field and go into retirement already.
Yeah, I feel you, Skinner.
It doesn't change.
I'm like, come on, man. I mean, let's have one of us still representing. You know what I'm saying? I love the new bevy of quarterbacks we got coming up. I love the Lamar Jackson, the Jalen Hurts, and the Joe Burrows, and all these guys. But at least let's have one person representing us old dudes still. In there, giving them what for. So I appreciate him still playing. So that's just me, but.
Well, when you got Tom Brady playing like crap and Aaron Rodgers playing like crap all at the same time, what does that tell you?
Yeah, but shouldn't they be allowed to
retire?
Shouldn't they both be allowed to have a slump too? Everybody goes through it.
Well, yes, but a lot of people say they've played.
You just said it. You just said it. One game. It's only been. Yeah. Give them time. We'll see. At the end of the season, we can honestly look back and say if they play like crap the whole year, then we can say something. So.
Maybe Tom Brady will start dating Tiffany. You never know.
Yeah, there you go.
He should start dating Madonna. Yeah, okay. All right, let's get on some pop culture. Take it away.
All right. Pop culture. Why don't we start out, guys, with some GenX recommendations? Have you watched or heard or read anything you wish to recommend to our listeners out there? Maybe you read a back of a Count Chocula box or something like that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Make it play, bro.
Keith, have you seen or heard anything interesting you want to recommend?
I have not.
Okay.
None of the streaming services I've seen anything. Still watching the Peripheral on this third episode on Amazon Prime. Or fourth actually. It's still phenomenal. The show to watch right now. But that's it for me.
Okay, Skinner, anything?
No, I don't got anything new from last week. We're about 8 episodes into the show The Mentalist that came on in CBS 2008 for about 7 years. So really enjoying that there, but nothing new to report to this point from last week.
All right.
I will say this though, on HBO Max, season 4 of Titans started. 2 episodes into it, just wow! I don't even know what to say. It started off with Lex Luger, him being half father of Superboy, sent a message to Superboy only on a frequency only Superboy could hear, saying he wanted to see him, and he basically told him he wanted him to live with him and take over his empire, and then Lex ends up dying. Phenomenal start to the series, man. That's just a great series. If you haven't seen Titans on HBO Max, it's the story of Robin grows up, leaves Batman, becomes Nightwing, starts Titans, and it's just as deep as a drama as you could get for superhero stuff. It's great.
All right, Lex Luger, the wrestler.
Lex Luthor.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I saw on Friday it just started streaming on the Roku channel, so you can pull it up for free on your smart device. Doesn't have to be a Roku device necessarily. Weird, which is the Weird Al biopic with Daniel Radcliffe playing Weird Al. It's just an over-the-top story of Weird Al. So Weird Al he's involved. He's in the movie, not playing himself. I haven't laughed that hard at a movie in a little while, so
really?
A lot of fun. If you're a Weird Al fan at all, it's loosely based on his life story, but again, just very parodied version of his life story. Just a lot of fun.
Check that out.
Yeah, definitely recommended. You will definitely have a laugh. And then I hadn't seen it. I rented it on Amazon Prime on the weekend. Bullet Train. This came out earlier in the year with Brad Pitt and a few other folks here. So basically,
Yes.
There's a bunch of assassins on a bullet train, and a lot of action and things happen. I really enjoyed this movie. I thought it was shot well, acted well, and a lot of the fighting scenes were great. Just he puts the pedal once it gets going. It's just nonstop action and comedy. So it's a action dark comedy. Really enjoyed it. So go check out Bullet Train if you have not. Just a couple of bucks to rent now on Amazon Prime. And no spoilers here. I did finish the Patient with Steve Carell. All I'll say is wow. Just if you have not watched this yet, check this out. And wouldn't even say anything else. It's just start to finish, very, very good. And I won't even remotely talk about the ending or anything like that. So just definitely worth a watch. That's it. That's all I'll say. Okay, so pop culture
Cool
news here, guys. I thought this was pretty cool. George Lopez is making a return to television. So he has a new series starting very soon with his actual daughter, Lopez versus Lopez. It's so he hasn't been on since, let's see here, George Lopez ended in 2007. I didn't realize it's been that long. I didn't realize, but Skinner called out that he had some health issues and everything, so he seems to be recovered. He looks great, and it looks like a funny show, so I think it's something I'll check out. But they definitely get into some real issues, they say, with like repairing an estranged family and stuff like that. So, and how cool would it be, guys, just to be able to do something like that with your child, on a comedy show like that? I think this has got to be a very rewarding experience for him. So, George Lopez fan, Keith?
Yeah, I am actually. I think he's extremely funny. before I go into him to answer your recent question, I think that would be great. I know the relationship that I have with my son. I don't want to try to come up like it's perfect, but it's as perfect as he can get for me. We have a great relationship. He's respectful. We talk, we share, but we also have a great sense of humor together. A good, back and forth, give and take thing. And I would probably have a ball doing a show with him. That would be really, really funny. But I love George Lopez. I think he's great. But George Lopez to me is almost, not quite, but almost in the Jim Carrey category to me, where a little bit goes a long way. Sometimes he can just be too over the top for me. It just gets old. But I used to love watching the show. I thought the characters on there were hysterical. His mother, his best friend, his father-in-law, all those guys were great. But I like George Lopez.
Very good. Skinner, you a fan of George Lopez? Looking forward to this show, or what do you think?
Oh yeah, George Lopez. He's one of those great comedians. Saw a lot of him. Watched that George Lopez show when it came out, and saw a lot of stand up during that time too on YouTube and other places. So he did have some health issues. That's why he abruptly left the scene for quite a while, but still had some ventures. That ship that we were on for your 50th anniversary, for your 50th birthday, that comedy club was the George Lopez Comedy Club there on Carnival Cruises, if you remember.
No, I didn't. I don't remember that.
So he had his
named after him. Okay.
Yeah, that comedy club that we would go and saw a couple shows was a George Lopez Comedy Club. So he dabbled in that a little bit there for a while too. But yeah, great comedian. Glad he's doing well, and I'm interested to see how the show goes with his wife, with his daughter, rather.
Is it me, or did his head just get huge?
No, he's always had a big. Okay. He's always had a big dome.
Okay.
It may have inflated a little over the years, but he's always had a big head.
All right. Well, speaking of maybe big heads here a little bit here, guys. So making the social media news over the past couple of weeks here. Kanye West, or Ye, as he's known by now, and also Kyrie Irving, have both made commentary on social media that was anti-Semitic, and both guys really haven't owned up to what they said. Kanye West, he took his comments off, but he's also said other things. Kyrie basically was forced into apologizing over the last day or so when he was suspended by the Brooklyn Nets without pay. He finally came around and apologized here too, but I just don't get the mindset of you have a very successful career and you just feel like you could say something without repercussion, perhaps, and because you try to position it a certain way, you really have a hard time, it seems to me anyway, of owning up to what you said and accepting the consequences. So, we kind of talk about this on the Convincing Idiots as well, where it's like, some people thinking that, some people think that free speech is, you can say whatever you want, but without the consequences. And as we know, that's not how it works. You can say whatever you want to, but you also have to accept your responsibility for what you said, whatever comes with it, whether you lose opportunities or
consequences of speech. You better believe it.
That's right. So, any takes on these guys here as far as, I know we don't agree with any of their remarks. That's not what I'm suggesting at all, but just the mindset of why these two guys or some folks in general feel that they can kind of say whatever they want, not have to accept responsibility. Keith, what do you think about all that?
Oh, wow.
Well, it's a big subject, I know, but
yeah, I'm trying to figure out how to unopen this package. I just want to be clear about something. Did he actually say anything, or was it because he supported a movie that said a lot of anti-Semitic things?
He supported a movie that was based on a book, I guess, that had a lot of anti-Semitic views in it, and someone pointed it out to him. This is kind of my understanding anyway. But he never stopped and said, I oppose all that stuff.
Right.
He just sort of, spoke around it and never really said that he apologized if he came across that way and didn't believe in all of that. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, I'm a firm believer in, being able to express how you feel, unless it's hate speech or whatever.
Mhm.
But also at the same time, when it comes to being suspended, you have a Jewish commissioner. When it comes to being dropped by Nike or whatever, just like you have the right to support whatever you want, they got the right to drop you. That's the world we
Mhm.
live in, Jack. I don't feel sorry for you. You should have thought that through before you did what you did. And in a world where people are struggling to find clean water in some parts of the world, and families in America struggling to eat from week to week and buy medicine, I don't feel bad for you at all, because you're not going to get $100 million a year for having your name on a freaking shoe. So maybe you should have thought that through. A lot of these athletes need to understand that they've gotten so outspoken nowadays, and they hide behind this. Well, we're people too. We're voters too. We got feelings too. Yeah, you know what? That's fine. But when you put that jersey on and you sign that contract, you're representing a product that's being put out there.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And they don't seem to understand that crap. When I go to work, man, my boss ain't worried about listening to everybody's views on stuff. You do that
That's
on
right.
your own time. We're on their dime right now. We're representing such and such company, and when that clock starts, we got to get company stuff done, or whatever. And that should apply for those guys too. You're out there representing a professional basketball team, and during the season, you're posting and tweeting this type of stuff. So I don't feel bad for him one single bit. I see these things on Facebook and memes like, oh, they're targeting Kyrie. They're going after Kyrie. You know what? Kyrie going after himself. So it is what it is. And you got to just be smarter than this stuff, dude. You got to be smarter than this.
I agree. Skinner, any thoughts on this?
I can't say any more than what Keith just said. Everything he said is spot on. These men that think that their platform is above everybody else. Kanye, this isn't the first time he's been stupid with his mouth. And Kyrie, this isn't the first time he's said something or done something that's gotten under people's skin. The Earth is flat movement that he did a few years back that really ticked off a lot of people. So, they didn't learn their lesson the first time. Maybe this time they will. I don't know. But, you can't go about targeting a group of people, and it doesn't matter who it is, whether it's religion, whether it's race, whether it's, gender. You can't target a group of people and say what you say and there not be consequences from what you said.
Yep.
Plain and simple.
A lot of people in the past have been punished for saying the truth. Don't mean it should have been said.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good point.
I agree.
Yeah, just even with us, it's somewhere. It was between episode 3 and episode 50, I think it was. Skinner said something, Keith, that we lost a pretty good kids deal.
Oh yeah, I remember that. Yeah, I remember that. Cost us
Super
a bundle.
Kids.
Cost us a bundle. Yeah, we've lost a lot of deals because of Skinner. It's tirades going off.
Yep, absolutely. Kids and like a kangaroos deal, something like that.
Send me to my room. Wait a minute.
Right.
All right, something a little bit more light. So this week in pop culture history, guys, some pretty significant things. So we're shooting this again on November the 7th, as Skidder said earlier. November the 8th, all the way back in 1972, the first pay TV channel appears for the first time. I can't believe it's been that long. HBO launched in 1972.
Oh my goodness.
So
Was it 72?
72?
Wow.
I mean,
If I was on a quiz show, I'd lose every time trying to guess that.
Yeah. I would have thought like late 70s, early 80s, something like that. So I know we had like, Star Channel, Movie Channel, stuff like that, but I don't remember. You know what? We had HBO, I think, maybe at some point or another at the house, but I don't know, man.
That sounds unbelievable. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So originally just a working title. This is from This Week in Pop Culture History as a website. You can find these things here, but the first presentation was of a movie, Sometimes a Great Nation, that starred Paul Newman and Henry Fonda. So it was transmitted to 325 subscribers. Then they aired its first sporting event, an NHL hockey game, and then it kind of went from there. I think that's what the premise was originally. I think they were trying to, it was home box office. So it was like to buy movies, like watch it at home. And obviously it blew up from there. And we've talked, it's one of the first pay-per-view or pay sites, cable, that had original programming with a lot of their great shows. And obviously that helped spawn the whole streaming and everything else. So
that might be the problem. We're thinking of it as it is now.
Right.
Start like that. Because, I mean, think about Netflix, what that was all about when it started. You're mailing stuff in back and forth,
Movie rentals. Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. And then in 1980, Saturday mornings were introduced to Fonzie in Space. This was a cartoon based on the Happy Days characters. Fonzie, Richie, and Ralph Mouth traveled in outer space, and actually the actors came back to provide the voices for this show. This was like an era that they had for a while in the 70s and early 80s, where shows of the 60s and 70s that had popularity in reruns and in their own right, just as they were normally airing, just they tried to make cartoons of some of these, just very strange. So it got me thinking about just in general weird cartoons, whether it be Saturday mornings. Now, of course, Skinner wanted to stay home.
He was at the alley, yes.
Watch cartoons like a normal child. And Dave said, "No, you're going to bowl." So we know that he wasn't exposed to as much of this stuff as we were, Keith. But just any cartoons that you remember, it didn't have to be necessarily when you were a kid. Just cartoons that struck you or strikes you as weird. Again, there's no set number we have to cover here. There's no set list. But any come to mind that struck you as weird? So Skinner, what's one that comes to mind for you as a weird cartoon?
Well, the first one that came to mind when you told us earlier today to come up with it was that show Ren and Stimpy.
Yes.
That had to be the weirdest, dumbest cartoon I've ever seen in my life. And that came out when our kids were very young. Michael and I don't even know if it was running when maybe even Steele was born, but it was when
early
Michael
90s.
was very young.
Early 90s.
Yeah, it just weird, stupid. I didn't get it. To me,
I like Ren and Stimpy, but it is weird. Definitely weird. Definitely. Keith, any come to mind as a weird cartoon for you?
Yeah, you know what? Back in the 80s, this whole craze started with the little creatures that bothered me, like Snork. I couldn't stand little things like that. Yeah,
that's right.
It was weird stuff coming up the top. I hated stuff like that, man. And
trying to sell toys.
Yeah, and then there were some that were like huge on TV, but they tried to translate them to cartoons, and it just didn't work. Like Mr. T. It is like, wait a minute, that it just didn't translate well. Mr. T, RoboCop, and what was the other one too with the horse that talked? It was very weird. But the cutesy little stuff like the snorks and all that stuff just bothered me to no end, man. Oh, and then they tried to make little video games into cartoons. Legend of Zelda.
Oh yeah, Pac-Man. Remember the Pac-Man cartoon?
Oh God,
Holy
that's
crap.
a great one. Yeah, that did make sense.
Ugh. Yeah.
And maybe I was too old for him. I don't know.
One of the weirdest ones that popped in my mind was the Thing. If you remember this or not, Keith, you might remember this one. It was called the Flintstones Meet the Thing. No, Fred and Barney Meet the Thing. So first of all, Fred and Barney, it was like a Saturday morning show. It was like a sort of a variety thing. Now, Fred and Barney were never in any episode with the Thing, but they took the Thing.
That makes sense.
And he was a teenager. He was a teenage boy that could transform into the Thing as an adult. So he was a boy. He had these power rings he would push together, and these rocks, the Thing rocks, orange rocks, would form on his body, and he turned into the Thing. One of the stupidest concepts that ever existed of any Marvel hero, period.
Never even heard of that. That's amazing.
Yes, that was very, very strange. How about also Jabberjaw? Remember Jabberjaw?
Oh, yes.
Uh,
used to call
the
my
shark.
nephew that. Yes.
Yes, so you have kids that are going undersea with a shark, or sometimes the shark would just come on land. You could breathe just fine, no problem there. And he talked like Curly of the Three Stooges. The whole Curly, it was 100% ripping off Curly of the Three Stooges. And then this huge shark would play drums, somehow with fins. Who knows how he was doing that in their rock band with the kids. Just so strange and bizarre. Turbo Teen. I remember this or not. Turbo Teen was a teenager that would transform into a human car.
Oh my God.
He didn't transform into a car, a teenager car. So he had the head, and like his hands would turn into wheels or something strange like that. Now, all I'll say is don't sit in the back.
Right.
And don't open the trunk. That's you get quite the shock.
Yeah, I'll
You
bet,
open the
man.
trunk. Look up Turbo.
Fish, how about this? Rubik the Magic Cube.
Was that a thing?
That was a cartoon.
Oh my word. Oh my God. We had Gilligan's Planet. So this was another awfully Happy Days success. So Gilligan is now stranded on planets versus the island. And one was like, you remember in the 70s, the Harlem Globetrotters were super popular.
Yes.
The actual, and rightfully so, super talented. And I loved that lineup back then. We all remember like Meadowlark Lemon and Curly
Neil. Yeah.
They looked great, and they became personalities. But then they got into, a lot of people were animating the Harlem Globetrotters, so they made appearances like on Scooby Doo, and all that. I remember Scatman Carruthers did voices of. He did the Meadowlark Lemon voice, was awesome. Yeah, just great. But then they had these super Globetrotters. I don't know if you remember this or not. So this was basically the Harlem Globetrotters were superheroes, and they would turn into these very weird superheroes. Like Curly Neal, his head would turn into a huge basketball. Why? Don't know. Not sure. Don't remember.
That sounds vaguely familiar. I do remember that.
Yeah, one guy turned into like a stringy, like a springy guy would turn into like a human spring. It's strange
that is weird.
And bizarre.
How about Laverne and Shirley in the Army?
Yes, that's right. I think it was actually Penny Marshall and Cynthia Williams, I think, did the voices on that, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, they played off a lot of those like I said, the 70s rerun. They had a Brady Bunch cartoon, the Brady Kids, no adults, just the kids got into other adventures, and the kids like met up with Superman and Wonder Woman and stuff on the show.
I got the weirdest one
Go
of
ahead.
all.
Right, go ahead.
The completely mental misadventures of Ed Grimley.
Oh man, so good. Martin Short. Bizarre. You're right.
Not a good cartoon, though.
There's so many. Well, you know what? There's one of these days here, guys. I think we'll have to lick a couple of toads, break out the YouTube, and have some fun. Maybe get a whip it for Skinner or something like that.
Yes, you're gonna try his first whip it.
Yep, that's right.
Drugs, kids.
That's right.
Stay off the drugs.
But your experience of watching Super Globetrotters would probably be enhanced by 400% by licking a toad. I'm quite certain. Okay, November the 10th, 1969, Sesame Street debuted for the first time. So I just can't say enough good things about Sesame Street.
No.
That's a show that I watched religiously as a child, and obviously super great kids programming. It was not, as we all know, it was not just mindless television like a lot of garbage that's out there. They did teach you a lot, and 100% for sure that show, without question, helped me become a better reader at the time. I could read better than some kids my own age, and I attributed that to Sesame Street, just how they taught you to read. And I don't know, I've watched that show for many, many, many years, and it's still, of course, on the air to this day. Some of the most iconic Muppet characters of all time. So, Keith, did you grow up watching Sesame Street at all, sir? Was that one of your shows?
Not religiously like you, maybe. I watched a lot of episodes here and there. I was more of an Electric Company guy.
Yes.
I just thought that was kind of more of my show. Plus, they had Spider-Man on there, so I watched and waited just to see, 30 seconds of a stupid Spider-Man clip. But I definitely liked, Sesame Street. I found Big Bird to be annoying, even as a kid. I remember that. But I have more respect for it now as an adult, though, and just what it started. Just the approach to learning. I think it educated the world on how to teach kids and how you can captivate the imagination of children. So I have a lot more respect for it now than I did watch it as a kid.
And the inclusion. I mean, that's something they were always conscious of. So the neighborhood always had people from all walks of life in the neighborhood.
That's true. You know, Spanish speakers or people with accents. There were people of color. Like I said, a lot of respect for the show, man.
Yeah.
Good point.
They've had new Muppets recently. One character has autism. To help relate to kids with. Yeah, that's a newer character on the show.
Okay.
Help relate to kids. Yeah, again, it's all about inclusion. So, Skinner, Sesame Street fan, sir?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I grew up with it. My kids grew up with it, even the grandkids. So, there's 3 generations have all watched Sesame Street as young kids. So, and I agree with you. It helped me learn how to read because it was such an educational show. You had fun as a kid, but it was very educational at the same time. So kudos to them, throughout the years. And the biggest thing I take out of it as well, besides teaching me how to read and as an adult, is the inclusion. That's so important. It just stems off of our conversation from last week about the, all the inclusion that needs to, the affirmative action needs to be abolished. And they need to take watch Sesame Street, see how it's actually done.
Yeah. I'll say this, though, about Sesame Street. One thing it accomplished, and very few are successful at doing this. And when you do this, I think you've accomplished something. You wanted to live on that street.
Yeah.
I mean, you really felt like, gosh, I want to just be trapped in this place right here. If you can live anywhere and feel safe and feel like you got friends and feel all these great things. They really created an environment where you're like, man, I wish I was there. I wish I lived there. I wish I was part of this, and a great theme song too.
Absolutely. And it was not a spick and span street. It was like just a dingy neighborhood street with all that stuff happening. Yep. Very, very good. Okay, 1985, the first Microsoft Windows computer or program, excuse me. So it seems like, again, that would have been longer ago, but in 85,
still running it right now.
Windows 1.0.
What do you think I'm running right now?
Windows 1.0. Yeah, how about that? I mean, I don't need to get thoughts on Windows. I just thought that was interesting as far as the technology advancements back then, and it became officially obsolete in 2001, December 31st, 2001. It is now completely obsolete. Yeah, November, the 12th. So this coming Saturday, 2018. So 4 years ago already. One of the most creative people that's ever lived, in my opinion, created many characters that still live on and entertain the heck out of us to this day. The great Stan Lee passed away in 2018, 95 years of age. Stan Lee created, or at least either created or co-created, some of the most famous superheroes ever in the Marvel Universe: Spider-Man, Fantastic Four, Thor, the Hulk, Iron Man, X-Men, Black Panther, many more. Just what a super creative person. And I was glad to see him live long enough to see how all those characters were able to come to life on the big screen and how well they did those movies. And of course, as we know, he made a cameo in most every Marvel movie, rightfully so, made some type of a little cameo. So just an amazing man. I don't know. Just I don't know what else to say other than that. So Keith, any thoughts on the great Stan Lee, sir?
We don't have enough time, man.
Yeah.
That's one person I would like to have talked to before he passed, just to see really how he was, because you can't be that creative without being something special. You know what I'm saying? And we only got a glimpse of his personality, little cameos and things like that. I would have loved to sit down and talk with this guy about, something that's very important to me. A lot of people don't get superheroes. Some people think it's silly and childish. Of course, it's something very big to us. That fantasy is something that did a lot for me at a tough time in my life, collecting comic books. And I'm talking about at an adult age. I like to think that I get it. I understand the importance of fantasy. I understand the importance of escapism. I understand the importance of dreaming and imagining, not being weak anymore, and all these different things that come with it. The X-Men gave us amazing lessons on what it meant to be hated. I thought I looked at them as being victims of racism when I would read about the X-Men.
Sure,
you're different. We don't like you. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know, man. I would have loved to have just talked to this guy about so many different things and ask you where was his mind at when he thought about this stuff. But he's awesome.
Very good. Skinner, thoughts on the great Stan Lee?
No, I can't say any more than what you guys already have. He introduced us to a whole new world that we've been blessed to see come alive on the big screen. I remember, first time I saw Iron Man, I was absolutely blown away. And to think Stan Lee introduced us to that character so many years ago on the print screen. So, love the man, love his work, love what he stood for, and love what he's done for us as kids and even as adults to this day. So, and I'm with Keith. I wish I could have spoken to him one time. That would have been just incredible.
Yeah, we're marveling at the fruits of his labor now with the movies and the shows and the series and all this other stuff. But just go back and look at what he did with a few pages and some ink.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you got captivated in this fantasy from panel to panel. It was genius how he did it. Yeah, and of course, he had a lot of help along the way. A lot of people he would attribute to their genius as well. But just
Mhm.
the words, when you punch somebody, crack a doom, silly stuff like that.
Yeah.
Things that just make you feel the power of these characters. I thought that was the most brilliant part of all. Technology has aided today with the movies and stuff. But if it wasn't for Stan Lee, and the vision of him and his writers, man, wow, just amazing.
Yeah, just the forces that come together. Like you said, the creative forces with Stan Lee thinking about stuff, and then the all-time great artists that he had working with him that could bring his vision to life with the great Steve Ditko and others back then. So just awesome stuff.
I'd ask you some questions too. Might not be the most fun questions. There were some things about me, Marvel, Stan Lee, that I was annoyed. I got tired of every black artist being called Black something.
Yeah.
That used to bug me. Why you got to be
That's right.
Black Lightning,
Black Panther.
I mean, Black.
Yeah.
I got really.
It was Black Falcon. You're right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
you're
was.
Right. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Those things like that. I talk about. There's a lot of stuff I'd ask you.
Yeah, Ali got me an original picture that some local artist made print a few years ago, but it's hanging over my couch right now, and it's a depiction of Stan Lee sitting in a chair with a book, obviously telling a story. So he's animated telling a story, and there's all these little kids sitting in front of him, and all the little kids are dressed up like Marvel heroes, like Captain America and Spider-Man, stuff like that.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, just a great picture. So yeah. Anyway, okay. So we remember you, Stan Lee. Thank you for everything you did for us. So that's what I got here, guys. Any announcements, Keith, before we wrap up the show, sir?
No announcements, but I do want to give a shout out to someone very, very special to me. And I'm sure you guys remember her too. And that is Titania Baldwin-Foos, who runs Great Power Learning in Fairview Park. Of course, she is one of my dearest friends for 30 years. She was a singer in my band Shadow Play years ago. She is a brilliant educator, businesswoman, and I am just ecstatic at what she's doing as far as the advancement of the education of children with needs up in Fairview Park. Just an outstanding job. So Tanya, love you. Keep up the good work. Great Power Learning. Check it out.
Wonderful.
Yep.
I'll just say a reminder for me, the podcast Convincing Idiots. Find us on podcast platforms, YouTube, and also the Boss Code Media Network for your pop culture stuff.
I want to throw the gauntlet down right now.
Yep.
Skinner keeps mentioning that. I'm putting the gauntlet down. Before 2023, Convincing Idiots and It Came from GenX come together.
Sure. A whole podcast creative force.
Dropping it down right now.
Sure. Woke it up to coordinate it. Yep.
So Dean and Nick, the gauntlet's been dropped. Let's do it.
Absolutely. We'll coordinate.
Right.
Love to make it work. They've said the same thing. So
cool.
Dean and Nick. Yep. All right, Skinner, any announcements you have? And then when you can roll into your outro whenever you are ready, sir.
No announcements, but just a shout out to my daughter. Affectionately, we call her Little Red. Serenity turns 14 on Veterans Day, November 11th this week. So
that's the princess. Give
she'll
her
be 14
whatever
years
she
old.
wants.
So
whatever she asks for,
yeah,
you give it to her twice. Do you hear me?
That's what Uncle Keith is for. So yeah, shout out to her. Happy early birthday to her. Other than that, nope, no other announcements. So for Brian Fisher and Keith Porter, I am Michael Skinner. We are the guys from GenX. As always, we appreciate you, and we will talk to you next week. Happy Veterans Day, everybody.
Just thank you, veterans.
Thank you, veterans. Love you guys. Thank you.
a fish here from It Came from GenX with Skinner and Keith. For every like and subscribe, you may win a free 1-year subscription to the AARP.